Hey there everybody, Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is our reaction to Survivor Winners at War, Episode 4. We have a lot to talk about here, obviously. A controversial ? Tribal Council decision. A lot of Edge of Extinction drama. We lingered there for a very, very long time. Also, we're going to take on the controversial immunity challenge participation rule that we've gotten a lot of questions about this, and Sandra in the comments, so I think it's time we address that head on. We'll be doing that in this video as well. But before we get into this, if you do like this discussion, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to CARTERMATT on YouTube, and hit that notification bell. We will also have a preview for what is coming up next and talk about the great Michelle Fitzgerald ex-boyfriend disaster that could be coming. Maybe It's not a disaster, I don't know. I don't keep track of these people's dating lives, but okay. Well, let's start first of all with this, and not be it from me. I don't like to question the decisions of the Queen, but did Sandra make a mistake tonight in deciding ultimately, you know what, I want to get rid of Tyson instead of Nick?
I just think that you can look at this from both sides, and both decisions can be right and wrong. And I know that I'm riding the fence on this, but the idea of Tyson going forward when we're going to be having a tribe swap and you don't know where he's going to land, and could he end up landing with Parv or Rob? I mean, that is a big risk to take.
I agree it is a big risk to take, and I also agree you don't know what the game is going to be throwing at you.
No.
I feel like my gut tells me it's a mistake. My gut tells me that this is not a good move that Sandra should have made, and I understand in some ways why she made it, because Tyson, if Tyson is sitting back reflecting on this game, I think he can pretty clearly pinpoint to, oh, maybe I should have waited a little bit before throwing Sandra's name out there, because sometimes in Survivor, things can change very quickly. Tyson eventually got some of the wherewithal to recognize, oh, these people who are playing for the second time and they don't have all these pre-existing relationships, they're probably working together. Tyson kind of figured the Yule Alliance out, but he did it a little bit too late.
Yeah, he did. Which is good for me because I like Yule, so, I'm into the Yule Alliance.
I like the Yule Alliance, and I like a lot of the people in there, but, I'm also worried for, my guy Tony and, Kim, who both of them need to find a way to move forward in this game. And to me, it just feels like Tyson, he doesn't have anyone to blame ultimately but himself, because once you throw Sandra's name out there, it's very hard to convince Sandra to do anything different other than target you and get you out.
Yeah, and I understand where Tony was coming from, and it would have been a better move for Tony specifically to be keeping him in the game. He's right. He needs a bigger target than him. And now that Tyson is gone, for now at least, then that puts it back on people like Tony and Sandra, and it's not good.
The way that I think I'm trying to fundamentally think about things here is, let's look at the numbers, since we all know Survivor loves numbers. So we have the Yule Alliance, Yule, Sophie, Wendell, Nick. They seem to be a very tight four. By far, to me at the moment, they are the tightest alliance in the game right now. Mm-hmm. Now, let's look at the other people. You've got Tony and Sarah. I think they're pretty clearly a twosome.
Yeah.
At least for now, depending on what happens at the tribe swap, Kim and Tyson, they're sort of a twosome. If Sandra went with them, she could possibly be number 3 in either duo, versus with the Yule group, she's pretty clearly, at least from the outside looking in, number 5.
The thing is it's still early.
Yeah, it is.
So I feel that Sandra could have ended up kind of, as other people go, that she could end up sort of being a twosome or a threesome with someone else in that gang, and then end up kind of siphoning off some of those people, because she is the queen and she is a huge target. So bringing her along can make sense if we were going in sort of that meat shield territory, that some of them might decide that that might be the way to go, to just get a little bit further themselves.
And that may very well be the case. And like I said at the start, Sandra, she's won this game twice. I mean, I think she's almost beyond reproach when it comes to actually trying to critique her game. I mean, from the outside looking in, we don't have all the information. We're not there. We don't know if this is all just editing, but it feels like the numbers would have benefited keeping Tyson for her. It also feels like, from a target point of view, keeping Tyson would have meant that there was at least one more person who is at least kind of on the same level of target. I don't think anyone in that Yule alliance is going to be viewed as dangerously as Sandra is going to be in the game moving forward.
I think it's just hard for someone like Sandra, who has won twice, has a huge target on her, knows that Tyson is a big player, it can get people out, is coming for her, that it's very difficult to see that and see that threat and know he's a great game player, and he's thrown out her name to be like, yeah, I'll worry about that later. It's difficult. It might have been a bit different for Sandra if it was someone who may not have been as big as a player as Tyson to come after her. That maybe then she can say, okay, maybe I'll deal with that later. But when it's Tyson, maybe that's just the way that it went. It's just like, okay, there's a problem.
I wish that I had like a bat signal or a Sandra signal that I could put into the sky, and she could just come in here and I could ask her questions, because Sandra, this is what I want to know. I want to know, if Tyson had not thrown your name out there in this past episode, would you have kept him, or would you have made this same move? Because one thing that's sticking with me a little bit is, I remember in some of the pregame for this season, Sandra had said that she wasn't necessarily going to play her signature anybody but me strategy that she's really, really known for. But these people, they don't know that, and this might actually represent Sandra being a little bit more loyal than she's been in the past. And I mean, your guy Yule, he did pass along that information about Tyson to her.
Yep.
Maybe that one move by Yule is enough that it bought so much goodwill that Sandra wants to keep working with Yule.
Of course, and I think that it does. I think that Sandra is trying to play a little bit different. She is still doing, if you're coming for me, then, anybody but me, I gotta deal with this. But at the same time, yeah, she is building a little bit of something with Yule. I mean, it could be something a bit grander. So sort of that idea again of, there's the foursome over here, but maybe Sandra can make some of these inroads where someone like Yule might say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I do have this foursome and it has been really strong, but maybe he's starting to feel like he's kind of at the bottom of it, and decides to go with Sandra. She's a bigger target. Maybe that can happen.
I think Sandra's probably thinking very much about, okay, there's a tribe swap that's possibly coming down the road.
Yep.
All these first-time players who are back, the old alliance, they're probably not all going to end up on the same swap tribe. Maybe one or two of them get picked off at somewhere along the lines there, and then all of a sudden she becomes very valuable for whoever is left when you get around to the merge. It's like my gut tells me that Sandra should have kept Tyson, but my survivor gut can be very, very wrong sometimes.
I think I would be just worried about having him around, and then swaps are coming up, and Rob is still around, and I don't know that I would have taken that risk.
And it's understandable. That's why I can't sit here and say that, oh my gosh, Sandra, you made this horrible, horrible move, because it could. I can see many of the scenarios where this ends up working out well for her. You're probably right that Tyson and Rob would link up together. Tyson and Parvati were also on Heroes versus Villains together. There's a lot of different ways things could sort of unfold. I was trying to think, okay, is there someone who Tyson should have targeted other than Nick that people would maybe put the votes on? But I couldn't really think of a specific person based on what little information we have.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tyson may have actually just been in a better position just for right now to have just said nothing.
Yeah, I think.
And kind of played a bit of a Tony game where it's a little more like, hey guys, look at my ladder. Hey, look at my shark. Like that kind of game for right now, because it is working for Tony.
Tyson should have probably just stayed quiet a little bit longer. Maybe it would have been the same result. We just don't know one way or another. But this ultimately is where we are. Nick seemed to be the best suitable target. He was, bungling the puzzle and the challenge. He apparently isn't doing as much around camp. But let's fixate on my guy Tony here for a minute, because look at Tony having a reasoned, rational conversation with Tyson, who both of them seemed like they were going after each other pre-game, kind of recognizing, oh, yeah, we need each other. And then there was about 2 seconds in this episode where I became terrified that Kagayan Tony was about to come out and start shouting llama at everyone, because after that conversation with Tyson, he didn't just get up. He ran back into the jungle. It's like, Tony, what are you doing? No, abort.
No, I think that Tony, it's actually really interesting to see Tony playing such a different game.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it has been pretty unexpected.
And I even love the fact that Yul at Tribal Council was just like, I thought Tony was going to be a bleep, but he's actually, a really nice guy. Look at you, Tony. Nobody wrote down Tony's name.
No, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this different game is working for him. And it was funny to see Yul say that. But it's true. You watch people on TV, you don't know. The edit is whatever the edit's going to be for you. And you have to kind of roll with that. And then when you actually meet people, it's like, oh, Tony's all right. Or at least he's all right this season.
He's doing okay. He seems to have his head on straight. He seems to be playing well. There was a brief moment, too, at Tribal Council where we saw Nick write down Kim's name.
Yeah.
I thought for, like, some split second there was going to be something really weird that happened, and a couple of people were going to write down Kim, and then ultimately Tyson was going to find a way to stay, and then Nick would have accidentally basically voted himself off by voting for the wrong person.
Yeah.
Which would have been really funny, because that's kind of how Tyson got voted off of Heroes vs. Villains. But no, we don't get the exciting Tribal Council craziness. My guess is that either the edit was just trying to make us think there was drama or there really wasn't any.
Yeah.
Maybe Sandra went to everybody and was just like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to vote off Tyson, and nobody wanted to stick their neck out there.
Yeah, the edit felt very much like this was going to be Tyson's time to go, and there wasn't much kind of getting around that.
Yeah.
Like, they have done a good job, like we saw last week with what happened to Ethan, that they have done a pretty good job of kind of trying to give us a little bit of drama this season, but this one just felt like the writing was on the wall. I mean, the Yule Alliance is strong.
It's strong, it's dangerous. That's why I kind of am glad there's a tribe swap. Don't get me wrong, if Yule wins this season, I'll be thrilled, but I don't want to see just one alliance kind of dominate. I want to see all these people face adversity aplenty.
I agree, and I say that as a fan of you, and I want to see him win, but I want to see things get a little mixed up here, see what happens, see if he can still find a way to find his footing in this, because right now it is kind of smooth sailing over there, and he's right, everybody's pretty happy there, everybody's eating well, everybody's sleeping all right, the morale is high, and he's in a big alliance, so, I mean, things are just going swimmingly over there for him.
I just had this brief second. I was like, oh my gosh, we could see an alliance with Tony and Tyson and Sandra, and Kim, all in one book. Like, this is my Survivor dreams are coming true. And then it turns out, no, it's actually just a nightmare and you're not getting anything you want. But, okay, well, let's spend a moment just talking a little about Extinction. I mean, there's not a lot of big gameplay stuff here, but at one point I was thinking, okay, are we seeing too much of Extinction in this episode? But then I can't be cynical about it because the Ethan stuff was just so powerful, and I'm so glad that he is still there and he didn't get evacuated.
I was worried when we saw the preview last week, but this was really powerful. It was so good. And I loved that everybody went with him for the last run up the hill or the mountain or wherever they're running up. Like, he's so great. I was just cheering at the screen like, yeah, you can do it. It was really good. I love him, and I love that he finished it. That was awesome. Very inspiring to a lot of us out there that have gone through health issues.
And I mean, it seems to be pretty inevitable that Natalie's just going to steamroll all these people and get back into the game.
Yep.
But, I mean, even still, you're giving us some interesting story over there.
Yep.
I mean, they are telling the story of how Natalie may end up making it back.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have a little bit of time over there, even if it doesn't always translate to, the most nuanced of strategic conversations here, because there's only so much strategically they can do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about SELE now, and somehow, some way, they avoid going to Tribal because of what may very well be one of the best underdog, come from behind wins I've ever seen in an immunity challenge.
It really was. I can't even believe that turned around the way that it did.
At first, I just thought this was going to be a blow up, but the moment they started doing slow motion on those atom jumps, I was like, oh, they may actually come from behind and win this. I see what you guys are doing.
That was crazy.
It was crazy. It was a really fun challenge to win. And you don't get me wrong, I didn't want to see people on DAKAL who I like Tyson, go to the edge. But I love the story of that challenge. And I think there's a lot of interesting story going on the SELE tribe right now. Boston Rob.
Oh my goodness, he's so good at this game. Him deciding to go and throw out this lie about Adam, I was just like, this is why you need to get Boston Rob out immediately. He is so smart.
Yeah.
He is such a good player. This was such a good move.
It was so good.
He really is good TV. No, it was so good.
Yeah. I mean, once again, it's sort of like, I wish now we could have, I know we had Sandra in here earlier. I wish we could bring in Jeremy now because I want to know, like, were you and Michelle really buying what Rob was selling? And maybe Rob would have been voted off if they'd went to tribal council. You know, we just don't know one way or another, but it looked like a really impressive, smart move for him to make.
And it did look like they were buying it. And why wouldn't they? Because he did just betray everyone. Now he's back at camp. It's like, yeah, look, guys, I'm moving the wood and I'm doing this and I'm cleaning up the camp and I'm taking care of everything. And his apology tour that everyone was like, no.
Yeah.
So then Rob putting out this lie, it was just so well timed.
The thing I also have just thought a lot about over this last week or so, and by no means, I still think that you should try to get rid of Rob, not because I wouldn't want Rob there as a viewer, but Rob is just so dangerous. But it is interesting with Jeremy, because Jeremy is a big threat. Rob is also a big threat. Mm-hmm. Rob could be a shield for Jeremy. I feel like from Jeremy's point of view, it makes sense to entertain the idea of keeping Rob. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm saying you should at least think about it. It's just Michelle is the one who I just sort of wonder, because Michelle's not the biggest target in the world. What does Michelle get out of keeping Boston Rob in the game?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really need a sort of shield that's that big.
No, she really doesn't. I know I don't always try to entertain the finer nuances of editing because they can lead us very astray.
Of course, absolutely. It is
but
TV.
Michelle Winter's edit. Growing by the episode.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no, it is.
And I mean, this is why I sat here in these videos before the season and I was like, get Michelle out, because this is going to be the same thing that happens every single time with these seasons, where you have the person where everyone is like, oh, why are they here? They shouldn't be here. It's like Amber and All Stars, Parvati when she won, and then they all come out and then they smoke everybody.
Yep.
And it's like, Michelle is more than capable of this, guys. I don't know why you're underestimating her. And this whole people were really mean to me after I won my season.
Yeah.
I think it's true. People were mean to her. I saw it.
Yes, I saw it. It happened. And I do think that she's there not just for the money, but also for that feeling of redemption to be like, see, you know, I deserve to be here too. And she already does. Yeah. But getting this edit, it does feel like we're kind of moving in that direction, that whether it's the winner's edit or at least getting to the, you know, getting close to the end, I think we're going to see her around for a while.
I think probably so. I mean, it's certainly possible that it's a Survivor recognizing in the aftermath of the Tommy super easy to predict win from last season. They're trying to throw us off the trail. I don't understand why you would get rid of Michelle anytime soon. And I think she's got a lot of game to play, and I think even if she doesn't win, I think she's probably going to be around for a while, and she'll probably make some really, really big moves, and maybe be a little bit like Kelly Wentworth when she came back after being sort of an early boot her first time around. So I think we have to sort of keep watch after what's happening with Michelle.
Yeah, I agree. People sleeping on Michelle on there.
Yeah, people are sleeping on Michelle, and also Ben. I mean, I'm not saying people are sleeping on Ben by any means, but would you have, if I had told you going into this season that Ben Driebergen would not just have made it this far, but would have actually not been targeted that much to this point, would you have believed me?
I just don't think that Ben is winning this season. Now that I've said that, he's probably going to win the season, but I just don't think that he's winning this season, and that's kind of why I think he's not really on anybody's radar right now. There was, you know, that whole thing about oh, we're in here and we see these winners that we're so starstruck by, and that feeling is sweeping both tribes. It is there. We saw it with Ben when he was like, let me tell you all this stuff, Rob, on like the first day. So, I mean, I just think that people aren't worried about him right now, and I don't think people are sleeping on him. I just don't think he's going to have the votes to win.
No, I don't think he's going to have the votes to win. He might have the votes to stick around for a little while moving forward, but this is kind of where we are now at Winners at War, and this is kind of why it's interesting that we have a tribe swap now, and we'll talk more about it in the preview, I'm sure, but if they had just continued forward with what we saw tonight, like, I can't sit here and say for sure that this person was going to be voted off of this particular tribe. Like, it could have been Adam, it could have been Rob over on the DAKAL tribe. I mean, maybe it's a good thing for Tony that they're doing the tribe swap.
Yeah.
I feel like Tony would be in a little bit of danger. But here we are, and it was kind of a predictable end of the episode.
It was.
And, you know, I love Tyson as Survivor Entertainment. I think he is a really, really good player.
Yeah.
But I do think, and we've seen this now through a couple of times on Survivor, Tyson can get the wool pulled over his eyes here and there, and he kind of did to a certain extent. But
well, I also think he was just in such a bad situation where there is such a big alliance going on. Plus, now Sandra's mad at him, so that's 5 people. Like, it's just it just didn't fall in his numbers. It just wasn't there.
It wasn't there for him. He played himself a little bit with putting Sandra's name out there when they weren't going to tribal on that given episode.
Yeah.
You gotta wait for some of that. But I'm excited to see where things go from here. Tyson still has a chance of coming back. He is a really good challenge performer when he's not injured, so I think he's going to have a good chance. But what did you guys think about Survivor Winners at War Episode 4? Be sure to share in the comments below, and if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store, and we'll see you here next time.